Hello and welcome to Talking Content. This is the podcast that helps small business owners in professional services like you to create content that connects, converts, and stands out. I'm your host, Ellen Bathgate, and we're going to talk all things newsletters today. But let me ask you, are you sick and tired of writing newsletters, maybe to your landlords that nobody actually reads? Or maybe you've just given up altogether, or maybe you haven't even started yet. Well, in today's episode, we are talking all things newsletters, and we're going to talk about how to turn them into a tool that is useful in your business, that you can use to communicate with your landlords, but also to convert potential clients as well. So let me talk to you about why I think that email newsletters in particular are so valuable. But before we do that, let me get clear on what I mean by email newsletters. What I actually mean are any kind of marketing email where you are adding value to the reader. So it might look like a newsletter where you've got different sections and different articles, but it also might look like just a single email that is encouraging people to go and read your blog, for example, or check something else out, or just deliver one piece of content. So I'm going to call them newsletters today, but it might be like a newsletter where you have a collection of different things contained in that email, but it also might be just a marketing email that delivers one piece of valuable content. So let's talk about why newsletters matter. They're really good for three main things. One is just to build a stronger relationship with your existing client base. So quite often you will nurture a client until they've converted and maybe they've started using your services. But then you kind of forget about them after that. So they're not getting those nurtures anymore. So using your email newsletter can be a great way of nurturing existing clients. It can be a great way to attract more clients and convert more. So people might have joined your database, but you need to make sure that they're hearing from you regularly. And they also help to position you as an expert. So you are the person that people come to for advice. And that's what you want. But I think that a lot of times we find it easy to disregard newsletters because they don't feel like they're working. And if they're not written the right way or they're not designed the right way, then maybe they're not working. So I want to step you through three particular areas to focus on to make your newsletters readable and convertible. All right, so tip number one is you need to write content that your landlords are actually interested in, your clients are interested in, which means that you cannot be sending emails constantly saying, buy my stuff, use our service. They need to feel, the newsletter needs to feel like valuable information, not just ads, because they can get ads just about anywhere and they will unsubscribe from your newsletter if all it is an ad. So if you're in property management, you probably want to focus on anything that can help maintain a property, minimize expenses, minimize stress. They're the things you want to be creating content on. You might also want to position yourself as an expert if you're going to talk about the local market and what's happening. And then if you are really hyper local, you might also be sharing information about what's going on locally in the community as well. You just want to create content that people do want to read, because otherwise, what's the point? Okay, tip number two is knowing your audience. So being aware of who is in your database. And that might mean sending this newsletter to some of your database, but not all of it. If you run a traditional real estate agency, as an example, you might have a database that contains people who might want to sell their house, people who might be looking to buy a house, people who are looking to rent out their investment property, and people who are looking to rent as tenants. So you've got four quite distinct groups of people. Now, not all of those people are going to want all the same information. So you want to make sure that you are targeting who gets this information and you're creating content for the people who are going to receive it. So focus on, if landlords are where you're wanting to grow, focus on creating content for landlords, but then also only sending it to landlords. So that's very important. Otherwise, you are going to notice an increase in unsubscribes, or you're just going to notice that people don't open your emails. And then the third little tip I want to share with you about newsletters is the power of the mailbox. Like, a physical newsletter is so rare now. Now, the cost of postage at the moment is so much more than it used to be. And so perhaps posting a physical newsletter is not going to be the way to go for you. It might be. It might be something that you send just to prospective landlords. It might be just an extra layer of communication that you add in there. But also, you might want to look at creating your landlord newsletter and printing it so that you can pop it in your referral partners' waiting areas. So maybe you're a property manager and you have a referral partner who is a mortgage broker, and they have a reception area, and they'd be happy to host your newsletter there. So this can be a really great way of getting your content in front of people that you would never have had eyes on your content before. If you are struggling to create engaging content for your property management business, I'd love to give you my free personal brand content starter kit for property management professionals. If you visit contentcollab.com.au/brand, you can download your starter kit today. Okay, so I've given you 3 tips around landlord newsletters, but I just want to give you a little bonus tip, and that is, don't forget your tenants. Tenants are an audience in themselves. So if you own a property management business or you're growing a property management department, tenants can also be useful referral partners and potential clients. So you might even want some of your tenants to receive your landlord newsletter or your landlord emails as well. And I would just suggest that you ask tenants. And sometimes as you're onboarding or lease signing or doing key collections, or if you meet with a tenant when you're at a routine inspection, sometimes that is a really good time to ask, are you looking to maybe invest in property yourself? And in which case, can we share our property investor newsletter or our landlord newsletter or whatever you call it? Would they like to receive a copy of it? Now, one more little bonus tip is you might want to consider outsourcing your newsletter creation. And there are some excellent services that will do this for you. My team will do it for you if you want us to. But sometimes that's just the easiest thing to make sure that you're delivering something every month or twice a month to your database so that you're not forgetting about it. If you're going to go to the effort of thinking this through and planning ideas, then you might as well get this content in front of your database. Okay, so let's recap. The 3 key points you want to remember when it comes to creating newsletters that your landlords want to read. 1 is write newsletters that are actually interesting to them. So pay attention to what they're stressed about. Create articles on those topics. Number 2 is just make sure you know who your audience is and you segment them correctly so that only the people who are going to be interested in this content receive those emails. Number 3 is consider physical newsletters. If you don't post them, that's okay. But if you want to print some and put them in your affiliate partners' waiting areas or reception areas, that can be a great tool as well. And then remember that bonus tip. You want to make sure you include tenants in your strategy as well, especially if they've indicated they would like to be property investors eventually too. Thanks for joining me on Talking Content. If you found this episode useful, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave a review. Until next time, happy content creating.